Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the OpsVeda Supplier Workbench training. I'm going to give you an introduction about OpsVeda. So OpsVeda has been implemented by Siemens because we want to automate the entire order management process. So basically, new purchase orders are being sent to suppliers every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We run the open order report every day, and planners send the entire open order report for a monthly, to suppliers, where they basically go and check the spreadsheet and work on the reschedules and past dues. With OpsVeda, like I mentioned before, we implemented this to automate the entire order management process. So we basically can confirm purchase orders online, change the delivery dates, put the purchase order lines on hold, put down comments, work on the reschedule messages, work on past dues, and also create packing slips and shipping labels. So this basically gives you a synopsis of what is a purchase order or what is the status of the purchase order in our system, and then we can validate in yours to ensure that we have transparency throughout the tool. Now I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and walk you through the OpsVeda portal. So are given a username and password, and once you log into the portal, this is the initial screen that you're going to go into. If it's the first time that you're logging in, you would not see anything in the screen except for this particular search bar. And I also wanted to let you know that OpsVeda has two different versions, which is the test version and also the production version. So test version, which is called the QA version, can be identified by these QA stickers that are on the header, whereas the production version will not have these QA stickers, but everything else will be pretty similar to what the QA version has. The production version is our live version, whereas QA is the test version where we do our trainings and do our functionality testing that happens in here. To get to the workbenches, we have two different workbenches as well. There's a supplier workbench and then there's a planner workbench. Suppliers are only given access to the supplier workbench, whereas we at Siemens have access to both the workbenches. To go to the supplier workbench, first off, once you log in, you want to move your mouse to the right side of the screen and click on these 4 lines that will take you to the supplier workbench. Like I mentioned, you will not have access to the planner workbench or these exceptions, but you will only see the supplier workbench and the upload file. So I'm clicking on the supplier workbench. So once you're in the storyboard or the dashboard, as we like to call it, you will see different colorful grids, and then there are different things that happen in each of the grids. I will walk you through each of them, give you a brief introduction, and then explain in detail how you can basically work on these grids. So first off, I would like to introduce to you different navigation options that are present on the screen to get to the data that you're looking for. So first off, I would move my cursor to the left side of the screen where are some hidden options. The first one is called the filter option. Currently it's off, it does not have any filters. So I click on it and then I have different options inside it. The first one that I wanted to walk you through is the create filter. So I click on the create filter, and then for the create filter, you can create objects. Objects are basically attributes as to what is the kind of data that you're looking for. So for me, first off, I want to see the vendor name. So I click on the vendor name, and then the value will be a Siemens supplier. So attributes are, we have a lot of attributes that you can choose from. It can be a vendor, vendor name, it can be material description, it can be PO numbers, and there's a great feature that OpsVeda gives you is that you can do a bulk search of any kind of attribute. Let's just say there's multiple materials that you're looking for. You can just put in material here and drop how many ever material values that you want to see. All right, so once you get the value that you're looking for, select it. And once it's selected, you have two different options to do. The first one is called the run, which will take you into the filter. And the second one, save, will let you save the filter with a name. So let's just say we are testing a certain filter or the supplier. So I would just want to put it as test supplier. And then you also have the option to make it default, which basically means that every time this dashboard loads or you log into the portal, this is the filter that's going to show up on the dashboard. The next option is shared, which means that whoever has similar permissions like you do will be able to see this particular shared filter. And once you click on the shared filter, editable becomes available, which means that the other person will also be able to edit this filter. I'm going to stick to only making it default for now and save it. Like I already mentioned, you can also do a bulk search of PO numbers. You can just do PO number, and if you click on the drop down, or if you have some PO numbers in an Excel spreadsheet, you can copy them and paste them in this value, and then you can just click enter and all of them will get selected together. Right now, I just want to give you an example by creating multiple POs so that you can just add it in there. And also a great feature is that you can also narrow down materials. You can narrow down the filters even further by clicking on material. And if that material exists in all of these PO numbers, that can be added as well to further narrow down and give you exactly the data that you're looking for. All right, so now moving back to the filter. Now, if you see, you have created a filter and it stays in the drop down for you not having the hassle of creating it again and again. The next option is called the edit option. So what this does is basically it lets you edit the dashboard filters or the existing filters that we already have. So what you can do is you can click on this filter, you can delete it, you can save it as a different name, you can generally save it, you can run it, you can make it a default, share, editable, add more things to it, etc. So you can do different things with the edit option. And the last one, let's just say that you selected a particular filter, and the last one here is the clear option, which will basically take this filter off. So click on the clear and everything that's present on OpsVeda will be shown. Mind you that your numbers might be different for what I have because I work with all of the vendors, whereas you just get to see your own data. All right, so now I'm going to select a different filter to explain to you the next option. So this is the refresh option, and how different this is from the reload option is basically that whenever you make changes in these grids, and if you click on the refresh option, only the storyboard is going to get refreshed. Whereas if you click on the reload option, the entire page is going to get reloaded and it will take you back to the default filter that's been set up. So try using the refresh option instead of the reload option for you not to lose the filter changes, and then you don't have to go about clicking on the filters again and again. Next, we have the reporting window, which basically shows us which time period we're looking the data for. Currently, it's going to be next 10 years by default, and you have a current month as well that you can look at. The last one here is the layout manager, which basically lets you edit the dashboard layout. So if you click on this, it will let you drag and drop the boxes however you feel like, and you can just arrange the boxes as you like. I've seen suppliers use the global layout, but if you want to make changes to that, you can absolutely do so by going to the edit dashboard. I'm going to cross this off for now. Moving on to the right side of the screen, you have 4 lines right here, like we already discussed. If I click on it, there's a supplier workbench and an upload file for you. Upload file, I will explain to you once I'm explaining a different grid. It will make more sense then. Then here is where you will see your username or your vendor code. And if you want to make changes to that, this human icon lets you do that. You click on it, you can change your password and your preferences. If you click on preferences, under the personal preferences is where you can update your first name and your last name. And you will also have an option to update your email address as well. So you can put down your email address and add it to it. Anytime your email address changes, please let us know too so that we can update our internal system as well. All right. Under the general preferences, you can add more details about yourself. This is totally optional, but if you want to, you may do so from here. I'm going to cancel this off for now. Then under the username or your vendor code, if you click on it, you have the first option being exception help. So what this does is basically if you scroll down, you have some exceptions present right here. And if you don't know what they mean, this exception help text has most of the active exceptions that are present. So it gives you a description of what that exception is and a documentation of what they mean. And it will be very helpful when you see a new exception coming up on the board and you don't know what it means. All right, and then the next one, edit dashboard, is internal to our team. You will not be able to access that. About is about the portal. Knowledge base is generally what OpsVeda is. Support portal will take you to the contact us page, but your point of contact for OpsVeda is going to be a person from Siemens who will introduce themselves. And then OpsVeda admin is also internal to our team. And then logout is, of course, if you want to come out of the screen altogether. Moving on, I would like to give you a little introduction about what these boxes are, and then I'll go in detail, like I said, about how you can work on these boxes. So the first one is called the POs to be confirmed by supplier. So by the name suggests, these are fresh POs, new POs that have been assigned to you and you have not yet confirmed them before. So here is where you will go ahead and confirm the purchase order lines, change delivery dates, put it on hold, put down your comments, etc. Once you have confirmed purchase order lines and these lines move to SAP, that's when these PO lines will move to the POs confirmed in SAP grid. So this is where you will see all of the lines that have already been confirmed by you and also the lines that have rescheduled messages and past due purchase orders as well. So I will explain in detail about past dues and reschedule messages once I'm explaining this supplier reconfirmation and past due charts. Moving on, we have the POs with cancellation requests. So this is where, like I mentioned, we do have a planner workbench. And let's just say the planner decides that there's a certain part that does not have demand at all. That's when they decide that that particular part can be informed to supplier about cancellation. Once they do that in their workbench, that particular part moves and sits in this particular grid for you to either approve or deny of that cancellation. Currently, we are not doing cancellations via the portal, so any kind of changes about cancellations will be communicated via email to you. Next, we have the UBF PO items. So these are non-stock PO items. These are not really parts, but any kind of processing fees that Siemens is bearing for you. Let's just say it's some kind of processing fees, setup fees, any kind of freight charges, tooling charges, etc. It shows up that certain item on a PO has this particular UBF charge. Moving on, we have the prepare for packing or shipping grid. This is where you will see all of the PO lines that are ready to be packed and shipped, and also the lines that are not been confirmed but can be packed or shipped. So if you create just a packing slip number against a PO line, that's when that particular PO line will move to the PO's packed grid. Anything that has both the packing slip number and a tracking number will move to the PO shipped or partially shipped grid. And also any partials will also remain in the prepare for packing or shipping grid. And if it's a partial packing, it will stay in POs packed. If it's a partial shipping, it will stay in POs shipped. Once PO lines move to PO shipped or partial shipped grid, the planners decide and check the tracking number and then change it to POs in transit or on dock status. And that's when those PO lines will move to this particular grid. Once they are in this particular grid, that's when it's assumed that the warehouse has already received the parts, and then they will check everything and assign a goods receipt against it. Mind you that even if there is one piece available, one piece open, that particular item will still show in OpsVeda. If all the lines have completely been received in, that's when that particular PO will fall off of OpsVeda. Then we have the aging on past dues. So what past dues mean are basically these are PO lines that have been confirmed. The confirmation date is already in the past, but you have not yet delivered the part to us. And how we calculate aging on past due is from the confirmed delivery date till today. If you hover your mouse over these lines, you will see that there are 373 lines aging past due, which is 16 to 30 days. Then we have 473 lines aging 31 to 60 days, etc. You click on these lines, it will give you more information as which ones sit as past due. And like I mentioned, these past dues can be accessed from POs confirmed in SAP. And also if you scroll down, there's a grid called past due to CC delivery date supplier action. This also has the past dues sitting in there. Next, we have the aging on supplier confirmation. So this is where it shows all of the PO lines that are still waiting for your confirmation, and the aging on supplier confirmation can be calculated from the time the PO line has appeared in OpsVeda till today. Then moving on to the aging on supply reconfirmation. So these are all the PO lines that have the reschedule messages on them. So what these reschedule messages are basically that sometimes MRP has a trigger saying that there's a certain part that does not have demand right now, but in future it might have demand. That's when it starts pushing the date out, which is called our reschedule out message. That's when you will have to go ahead and reconfirm the actual confirmed delivery date, which is why it is called the reconfirmation. So the same thing happens for reschedule ins, where SAP says that there's a part that is needed sooner than expected. That's when we start pulling in the date. Once we start pulling in the date, it is called a reschedule in message, and then you have to reconfirm the new requested delivery date. So like I said, it's called reconfirmation because you have already confirmed it, and this MRP triggers are also this MRP triggers also target confirmed purchase orders as well. And these reschedules can be accessed from POs confirmed in SAP grid, and also there's a separate grid for reschedule ins, and then there's a separate grid for reschedule outs. So if you see, all these lines don't really add up to each other, but are basically overlapping each other, which means that the PO numbers will be repeated, items will be repeated, but the schedule lines have to be unique. And also, anytime you run into some questions as to what these grids do, these I option right here gives you more description of what that particular box is and how you can work on them. All right, so now I'm going to go in details in each of the grids. So I'm going to choose the first grid, which is the POs to be confirmed by supplier grid. All right, so if you see this particular grid, it has most of the columns that a PO document would hold. So you have the PO number, item quantity for an item, the total item quantity for the PO item, then its unit of measure, then schedule lines. This is the supplier part number, which shows up if there's anything registered in SAP. Then this is the Siemens material number. Then you have the material revision, if any, it would show up in this particular grid. You have the material description, and this is the schedule quantity. So each of the schedule line has its own schedule quantity, which will add up to a total of the PO item quantity, and then requested delivery date by Siemens. So this is what Siemens is asking you to do. And then here is where you can basically make changes or agree to the date that is being requested. So this is the only column that you can make changes to. Everything else is grayed out. And once you make changes to this particular column, accordingly, the vendor confirmation status changes. And according to the vendor confirmation status, the buyer confirmation status also changes. And then this delay in days is calculated by the difference between the requested delivery date and the confirmed delivery date, which is because it is similar right now, it is 0, but if you change the date, it will show you how much delay or how much sooner the particular part is being changed to for the delivery date. And here is the last note. If you put down any comments, this is where it would show up. Then you have the buyer name, and then here is where the project name shows up and the WBS code for the project, then which city you're delivering it to, the vendor details, the vendor name, and some more supplier comments where you can put down your internal comments for your internal review. If you see that there are a lot of columns and you don't basically use all of them, you can absolutely make use of this particular drop down here, supply to confirm drop down, and edit your view. So how you want to edit the view is basically you can add more columns or delete columns that are already present in the grid. So you have 335 attributes to choose from. Additionally, 25 attributes have already been selected and are present in the grid. Let's just say because you obviously know your vendor details, you don't want to see the vendor details, you click on it and cross it off, and it's going to sit in the attribute section. Same thing can happen for the vendor name. Cross it off, it will sit in the attribute section. And probably if you want to add something to it, let's just say that you want to add a vendor detail again, you click on the vendor and it gets selected, and you can check this box, use these arrows to move it up and down. So the double arrows will take it to the top of the screen, single arrows will take it one by one. While it's moving, you can also see a preview right here and place it wherever you feel it's appropriate. And then you also have a sorting order that OpsVeda currently follows, which is it sorts by the PO number, then by PO item, and then requested delivery date by Siemens. You obviously have the access to do or add more sorting orders. Let's just say you want to sort it with the schedule line. You can just click on this arrow, schedule line will sit in here, and then you can move it up and down with the arrows like I mentioned before. So once you're done with all of the changes, you can save as with the name that suits you. And then also you can make it a default view, you can make it a shared view, etc. I'm going to cancel this off for now. And then talking about sorts, each column can be sorted manually as well. So if you click on this once, descending order, click on it again, no order in particular, click on it one more time, ascending order. And every column can be filtered out as well. So let's just say you have a certain material that you're looking for. You can just go to the material column, choose the material that you're looking for, and paste it here and filter it. And every PO that consists of that particular material will show up in the columns, and only that particular PO details will be available. Okay, moving on now. If at all, before I explain to you each of the different scenarios that you might experience, if you see that all of these PO lines look okay to you, if you have a PO document in hand and then everything, the pricing, the quantity, the dates, everything look okay, you can just directly check this box and click on the confirm option, and everything will directly get confirmed. But of course, there might be situations, and also just to mention, if you check this box, only 100 items per page will be selected, which means that each page has only 100 item limit. You can absolutely change this, but usually I stick to 100 because the loading time is lesser than that, lesser while it's that. So like I said, if you check this box and confirm it, everything would get selected and then it would get confirmed. But of course, there might be situations where you want to work on it one by one. So let me just choose a particular PO that has a few lines to show you a good example. Okay. Yes, we can work on this particular PO. So I copy this, like I showed you, you can filter it out, filter this out, click filter, and then you have item 20. Then all of the details and 1 to 8 schedule lines. Now I'm starting to work on it. So let's just say for the first one, you have no issues. You check this box and say confirm and say yes. This is one of the ways to confirm a certain purchase order line. I'll show you the next way once this stops loading. All right, so once something changes, you will not see the changes immediately. You will have to click on this refresh option, which is the yellow one. I'm sorry, the orange one, and it will show you the changes. I'm going to change all of them and then work on refreshing the data. All right, the second way to confirm a purchase order line is by clicking on this, and then you see the date is okay. You will not be able to make any changes to the schedule quantity. This is grayed out. You cannot make changes to that. You click on confirm and save it. All right, moving on to the next example. For the third one, let's just say you're not okay with the date. So you cannot do June 9, 2021. You want to probably move it out to September 15, 2021, and you still go ahead and confirm it. But now you have to put down a comment because you have not, you have to put down a comment because you're changing something. So let's just say you have a lead time, and then you save it. That way, the planner, when they look at your comments, understand that this is the reason for your date change. All right, moving on to the fourth example. So now here is where, let's just say that you're okay with the delivery date, but you're not able to do the scheduled quantity as required, or you probably have pricing revisions, engineering related revisions, or like I discussed, quantity revisions. For that, what you can do is you can choose any other option. Usually I would suggest using on hold option, and then put down the comment as to what the issue is. So let's just say you have a minimum order quantity of 100 pieces, or you can say price revision needed, and you can refer your quote number in here, and then you save it and then send us an email stating what the revision is needed for that particular PO line. Why you have to send us an email is basically because these kind of revisions are taken care of by different teams in our department, which is why an email is the best communication for different teams to get a hold of what is happening. I will show you an easy way to send us an email as well. And then once this particular PO line has been sent to the right team, they will revise the purchase order and we will send you a revised copy of the PO in your email. You can come back to OpsVeda and change it from on hold to the confirm status. All right, so that's about these. And then now I'm just going to go ahead, copy this PO and refresh the screen. So those are pretty much the scenarios that would happen. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you how it changed whenever you change something in OpsVeda. So now I'm going to go ahead and filter the data out. Right, I'm going to check this particular PO line, why that data is not available. Let me directly go ahead and filter it out, run it now. Okay, so now it used to be confirmed by supplier. Okay, not sure why it doesn't show, but yeah. So once you open that particular PO, if you see the different things, so the first and second one, we directly confirmed it. It shows confirmed, but then you have the buyer confirmation status saying okay, but holding. I'll tell you why it's okay, but holding. And then the third one, we changed the date. So if you see the difference between the date, it says 98 days delay. And then here is where you will see the last note. Last note is basically your comments, and it will be in the form of your initials or your vendor code, the date you put down the comment and what the comment is. And then the vendor confirmation status says update sent, and the buyer confirmation status reads review the date. That's when the planner understands that they have to review the particular date change and then approve of that date. Once they approve the date, that's when the confirmation will flow with this particular date into SAP. Next, we put down this one on hold, and then here is where you put down your comment. It says on hold, and the buyer confirmation status also reads on hold. So until you change it from on hold to the confirm status, that this will stay as on hold. And the rest of them, we did not take any action, which is why it says vendor confirmation pending again. Now about the okay but holding status. So what really happens is OpsVeda has a item level logic that's written, which means that every time, even if one line of a particular item has not been confirmed, OpsVeda will not confirm the rest of the lines on that particular PO. Item. This is because it wants to make sure that the confirmations flow in a chronological order. So it does not want to basically do 1, 2, and then and then make this 3, but it wants to do it in a chronological order because of which until this update send becomes confirmed and all of these become confirmed, the item 20 will still show unconfirmed in SAP. But the good part is planners can come here and look that they're still waiting for the rest of it to be confirmed. All right, but also I also wanted to mention that this does not stop confirmations for another item. If there's an item 30 and all of them are confirmed, item 30 will still show confirmed in SAP, but 20 will still wait for all of them to get confirmed. All right, so another option, there are some more options to the left side of the screen that I wanted to walk you through. So now if you see all these lines, if at all you plan on basically exporting everything to an Excel sheet, you can absolutely do so by clicking on this export to Excel, and everything that's in this particular grid will get downloaded. For now, we only have these many lines. So if you just click on this, it opens up the Excel sheet and exactly follows the format of what OpsVeda holds currently. So this is how it looks like. And then, like I said, every column that's in there in that grid will show up in here. Moving on, this is the add comment option. So like we have added comments manually for each of them, you can just choose different lines at once and then add the same comment on those lines. You can basically share the comment among different lines. So you say lead time and then lead time of 1 week or something, and then you select which user you are. Just pick your name up from here and then save it, and the same note will be shared among those 3 lines. And like I mentioned, I will show you an easy way to send us an email, and that would be with this particular email option. So let's just say this one has an issue. Now you can click multiple lines as well. So I'm just clicking 2 for now and then clicking on this email option. OpsVeda directly drafts an email for you stating the PO number, item, schedule line, and material. And now you can easily let us know which one needs revision. So this can be quantity revision, this can be pricing revision, and you can attach your quotes here and directly send it to us. So no hassle of copying and pasting anymore. OpsVeda does the job for you. All right, and then moving on, this one more option is just for the planners, not for suppliers. It gives us a history of what happened on a certain PO line. It has sensitive information because of which we don't like to share it with the suppliers. And the last one here is the export selected data. So how different this is from the export to Excel is basically you can drag and choose the data that you want to see. So only these lines will be exported to Excel. Everything else will not be shown in the spreadsheet. And then it shows a preview of what's being downloaded. Once you open it, only the highlighted data is going to be shown. There you go. And the good part is it always copies the column name so that you don't have to edit it yourself. All right, so this is it about the POs to be confirmed by supplier. Now let's move on to the next one, which is the POs confirmed in SAP Grid. All right, so let me just go back and get the test supplier so that we have more details and I can explain better way. So now I'm going into the POs confirmed in SAP Grid. So this is a particularly similar column grid, but then there are some columns that are new. So I wanted to walk you through them as well, and some other details about the past dues and reschedules like I mentioned. All right, so most of the columns are similar, and this is a new column that I wanted to show you. So this is a critical column, which basically means that if a planner decides that a certain line is critical, let's just say they check this box and click on the critical option that is present in here, this will have a Y against that particular line. When it says Y, it means that it is a critical item, and then it will show up, and we need you to basically concentrate on that particular PO line on priority. And then this is a new column also, which is a PO schedule open quantity, which shows us how much is open in the purchase order. So if you see this, there are 184 scheduled quantity, out of which 180 are still open, which means that 4 have already been delivered to us. And then the rest of them we have already seen in the other grid. So now I'm going to walk you through the CC delivery date by supplier. So what this column is basically this is the current confirmation date that it's showing up in SAP. So now for this particular line, 12/12/22 is the date that you have confirmed, and then the day of the week, which is with the 12/12/22, falls on a Monday. And if there's a reschedule message, it would show up in this particular column, and the new requested delivery date will be in here. So I'm just going to sort it out real quick to show you any kind of reschedule messages that you have. All right, so if you see this one now, so now you have confirmed this, or currently the SAP confirmation date is March 15, 23, which falls on a Wednesday. Then there's a reschedule out message asking you to reschedule it out to July 24, 23. So this particular new requested delivery date has to be confirmed again by you, and the same procedure goes on like you have done for the POs to be confirmed. You click on it, and then basically it shows you CC delivery date, reschedule date cannot be changed, and then here is the date that you can change. Once you make a change, confirm it, put down your comment, and save it. If you don't plan on changing anything, you can directly go ahead and save it by confirming it, or like I showed you, you can check that box and hit on the green option. So once you confirm it, it just gets confirmed, but if you change something, the planner has to approve of that date change, like I mentioned earlier. Moving on, we do have a shipping status grid, which shows you what is the current status of the PO. So if I just kind of sort it out, it has any partial goods receipt, it would show partial goods receipt. If it's packed, it would show packed. If it's shipped, it would show shipped, etc. So all those shipping statuses will be shown in here. All right, a great example with these red things as well. If you see anything, if there's no red colored lines, but if you see multiple in the day of the week, do let the Siemens team know, because this is not allowed at all. So what really happens is, like I mentioned from the start, that PO numbers can be repeated, items can be repeated, but the schedule lines have to be unique for the same PO and item. Here, if you see, there's a disparity or a change here, which basically means that two schedule lines, two of the same schedule lines are present for the same PO number and item. This is not acceptable, because schedule lines should have a one-on-one relationship with the confirmation sequence. When you see two schedule lines of the same number, please notify Siemens suppliers, or I'm sorry, please notify Siemens planners, and then they will take care of it by removing these multiples for you. All right, so that's about the particular grid right now. Everything else remains the same, and also the new columns that you have seen, you can add it in any particular grid. It's not just confined to this particular grid by going to the edit view like I already showed you. All right, so now moving on. Next up, I will walk you through the UBFPO items. This is just for your information. There's nothing that has to be done in here. It just shows you which PO number and which item on the PO number has this particular UBF charge. It shows you the material name, and then it gives you a description of what that particular charge is. Everything else is internal to our team. You don't have to worry about that. It's just like an FYI for you, nothing to be done in here. All right, moving on now, let's just go to the prepare for packing or shipping grid, and I will show you how you can basically pack or ship things in here. These are too many lines, so let me just go ahead and kind of filter it out. So let me try doing that with the PO number that I created recently. So this is the one that we worked on initially, so I'm going to run that particular PO. And it would show up in the prepare for packing or shipping grid. So I'm going to open this particular PO number. All right, so now if you see there is 10, 20, 2 items on this with different schedule lines, of course. And then here is where this is a little different from the other grids that we have. So if you see there's a PO number item, all these we have already seen. If there's no CC delivery to, it will show up there, which basically means there's no confirmation on those lines. And then the goods receipt quantity shows you if there has been any quantities that have been received by us. It's empty, so everything is open as of now. And then most of the description we have already seen. And then shipping date by default will be today's date. We will start making changes from the shipping date, packing slip, and all these columns right now. All right, so let me just choose one of the POs. So let me just choose this one. So now you will click on the PO number and then it will open a pop-up window. And then you have this PO number, item, and schedule line. Requested quantity, schedule date are grayed out. You cannot make changes to that. Shipping date, like I mentioned, by default, it's going to be today's date. Let me just change it to 22nd of September. And then you put down your packing slip number here. Packing slip number can be alphabets and numbers only, no special characters. And then number of labels to print per box is basically the shipping labels that go on top of the box. By default, it's going to be 1. You can choose how many ever you want. And then box 1 quantity, there are 25 pieces, and then you have 10 different boxes that are as an option to you. You can choose to do all 25 in one box, or you can move it to different boxes, or basically split it in different boxes. I'm doing all 25 for now. And for this particular item and schedule line, I'm just going to pack it. So which is why I'm not going to choose any carrier, and I'm not going to put anything in the tracking number column. Also, comment section can be used when you're doing a partial delivery. So for now, we're doing a full delivery, which is why the comment section is not needed. So you can just go ahead and save it. Right. Moving to the next one now. Now I will go ahead and choose another date again. Sorry, I will choose the 22nd again, put down the packing slip number, maybe a different packing slip number, box quantities, full delivery. Now I'm going to pack this and ship it as well. So now let's just select FedEx. Then put down the tracking number. Also, tracking number takes numbers, alphabets, and any special characters as well. So make sure if you're not planning to ship anything, don't put anything in the tracking number column because OpsVeda will recognize it as being shipped and move it to the PO shipped or partially shipped grid. All right, and the next example that I wanted to show you is let's just do a partial shipment as well. So I'm using a packing slip number in here, and then let's just say that out of 25, you're doing only 20 pieces. And then now you're going to put all of this empty because you're doing a partial packing only. So let's just say it's a partial pack and then save it. So like I said, if it's a partial pack, it has to have a comment. And then for the last one, let's do a partial shipment. I'm putting my packing slip number, then box quantities, 20 pieces, freight forwarder, FedEx again, tracking number, and then partial ship. Save it, right? So now let me just go ahead, refresh the screen. All right. So whichever has a partial pack. So if you see here, this one has a partial packing. So item 10, packing slip number. Now it has a 20 piece partial packing. It shows up in here, pending quantity 5. Okay, so this one can be, now what you can do is out of 25, only 20 have been packed in here. So you can go in here and do the rest again. So you can basically change the packing slip number, then update the remaining 5 quantities because 20 have already been packed, or you can go ahead and ship this one and still it will stay in here because you want to do the remaining packing. All right, I'm going to now go ahead and go out of this. and show you where the rest of the things are. All right, I refresh the screen. And now if you see POs packed has 2, POs shipped has 2. So I'm going into POs packed. Now 10 has a packing slip number, which is packed, and then this is partially packed. For item 10, this is schedule line 11, and this is schedule line 9. If you click on the packing slip number, I open the packing slip number, and this one has most of the information of your vendor details. Then you have bill to, ship to, vendor number, what is the part number, what's the part name, how much quantity is being shipped. So the first one we have fully packed but not shipped because the tracking number is empty. For the second one, you open it. It's a partial pack. It shows out of 25, only 20 pieces. And you have seen it's already present in the prepare for packing or shipping grid as well for you to do the rest of the 5, for you to pack the rest of the 5. Also no tracking number. And then this is the shipping label for the first one. And this is the shipping label for the second one. So, all right, so for the first one, let's just see what it is. I'm sorry, it's the second one. So 25 pieces. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, so it's this is the second one, 20 pieces only, and that's the first one, which has the 25 pieces. Right, 25 and 20. All right, so now I'm going to go back. And then we can go into PO shipped or partially shipped grid. And here is where you will see the options. This one is 25 pieces, out of which there is no pending quantity because we have shipped full, and there's a tracking number. So if you click on it, it will take you to the FedEx page. And if it's a real tracking number, it will show you where that particular part is. Then for the second one, if you see the pending quantity is 5 because we partially shipped only 20 and then it's 5, you click on it, it will take you to the same. Okay, and now let's just talk about things that you have wrongly packed or wrongly shipped. What you can do is you can click on this particular number, then you have to put the packing slip number right there. You cannot make a change to that. You can say 0 in here in the quantities and then let us know that it's a wrong pack. Also remove the tracking number so that it falls off of the PO shipped grid, but you cannot take the packing slip number off because packing slip number is mandatory. So it's for PO item 10, schedule line 12. Okay. So now I'm going to refresh the screen. And there's only one piece remaining because the one has fallen off of PO shipped grid. So now if you just refresh the screen, it's going to show you 2. Go back in here. I'm sorry, it will go back because we have made it 0. It will go back to the prepare for packing or shipping grid. So you will see that particular PO line in here. So it's PO this 12. It has been wrongly packed 0, and let the team know so that they can remove the packing slip number from the backend. And that's when you can create the packing slip again for item 10, schedule line 12. So that's about the prepare for packing or shipping. There's a last thing that I wanted to walk you through. So you can also do, if you see you have been doing it manually one by one, but you can also do a mass upload of this prepare for packing or shipping. How you can do that is basically download the entire packing slip, prepare for packing or shipping grid. Then you want to go to these 4 lines and then click on the upload file option. Once you do that, select the file type to be packaging slip, download the template, keep it for now, open the one that you basically downloaded, which has all of the information. Here, you can basically edit everything on the Excel sheet and then upload this document. So what you can do is, let's just say you're shipping it on 9/16 for all of them. And And then the packing slip number, also, if it's the same PO number, you can use the same packing slip number as well. Then you will have a unanimous packing slip document that has all of the numbers on there. So that way it becomes easy to use just one packing slip document that has all of the items and schedule lines written on it. If all of them are coming in together, then that would be a great option for you. Supplier part number does not have to be edited. Labels to print has to be edited if you want to. And then packing slip, you can, if you're doing a full shipment, just do 25 minus the goods receipt quantity, because that's how much you would probably ship. And then you can just go ahead and do this so that it matches with what the quantity is. But if you're doing a partial shipment, you can do it manually. And then you can also split it into boxes if you choose to. And then this FedEx, this forwarder can be, it's not case sensitive, so you can use it however you want. You can do an uppercase or lowercase. OpsVeda will still recognize it. And let's just say you're only shipping all of these parts, only until 4 parts. And then if you're doing, like I said, if you're doing only partial shipment, please put down a comment. If you're not doing a partial shipment, you're okay without the comments. Once you're done with this, go back to the template that you downloaded. Keep a copy of this template for future use as well. You can overwrite this multiple times. So now you have all of the columns. Just try copying and pasting the columns exactly to where they belong. Usually it's up until here, and then you don't have the goods receipt column. So you copy this, paste it in here, then you go to UOM to the rest of the columns up until usually the comment section. Yep, you do this, and then the rest can be filled manually. And then it's a CSV file, save it, make sure it's a CSV file, and also make sure that the shipping date is in year, month, and day format. Otherwise, OpsVeda is not going to recognize it. Make sure that it's year, month, and day only. And then this one was a formula, which is why it did not get copied properly. So I'm going to copy it one more time, paste it as numbers, and then save it. Then you want to go back to OpsVeda. Like we already discussed, packaging slip, select the file that you want to upload, go to all files, and then do the table that you wanted to do. So it shows all of the information, and then if you see, all of this has packing slip numbers, but then only 4 of them has the tracking number. So only these 4 will directly move to the PO shipped, whereas the rest of them will stay in the POs packed until you go and update the tracking number on it. Once you click on upload, this will be implemented and you will see all of the changes in that boxes that go respectively. I'm not going to click on the upload file. It just would mess up the data, but this is how you can basically do a mass upload of all of the shipping things as well. All right, so this is about the prepare for packing and shipping, and actually it's the end of the training session. I wanted to let you know some key points that even if all of you are onboarded onto OpsVeda, we will still send you purchase orders via emails as a PDF copy, and a Buy America certificate will also be sent to you. PO copies do not have to be signed and sent back to us anymore. You can just log on to the portal and confirm it online, whereas the Buy America certificates still have to be signed and sent back to us. We are working on getting the Buy America certificate onto OpsVeda. We do not have a timeline for it yet, but this is what you will have to follow once you get onboarded onto OpsVeda. We will make sure that we will send you a user guide as well once we are done with the training, and once you have all of the questions clarified, you can obviously take a look at the user guide, and also this recording will be sent to you. And whenever you have questions, please reach out to the OpsVeda personnel that has taken care of these training sessions, and they will answer most of your questions. Until then, thank you so much for attending the session, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.